Close for your earnest and wise words and sentiments. I'd now like to invite the Premier of South Australia, the Hon Jay Weatherill, to speak with us this morning.
At this lovely bend in the Torrens, amid the peaceful ambience of our parklands, we stand together both to honour and to dedicate. With complex and often irreconcilable emotions, we honour those whose lives have been profoundly affected by the brutal and damaging policies of the past. And with strength and hope for greater understanding, we formally dedicate a piece of public art that is both powerful, evocative, and above all else, truthful. In simple terms, this memorial is the culmination of a series of events that have occurred nationally and locally in the past 6 years. This began in late 2010 with an inquiry by the Senate Committee into Forced Adoption Policies and Practices, and that committee's subsequent damning report. It also included an historic debate in the South Australian Parliament on the 18th of July 2012 that was difficult and confronting for the participants and observers alike, yet was so necessary and so valuable. That debate was a motion that recognised the immeasurable distress caused by past adoption practices and the offering of an apology to all those who have suffered and who in many cases continue to suffer. I'll never forget the cathartic atmosphere that prevailed on the floor of the House of Assembly and in the public galleries on that day. And I'll also never forget discussing with members of the community immediately after the debate the idea of creating a permanent reminder and mark of respect. So we're here today with this beautiful piece of work, a piece of work which is visually striking and richly symbolic. Its words explicitly acknowledge the loss, grief and pain experienced by mother and child. And its form, the juxtaposition of two similar blocks of stone, evokes their sense of being close, but in some way forever separated. In its starkness, the memorial represents the feelings that so many mothers and adoptees have to this day. Feelings of hurt, of acute loneliness, of disenfranchisement, and of irresolution. This ceremony here today is a kind of endpoint for a process of awareness raising, apology and recognition that began many years ago but accelerated since 2010. But we must understand that for the mothers who lost their children, and for the adoptees who lost their identity, heritage and family, there is no real endpoint for them. There's some sense of recognition and liberation now that in a widespread and public way the silence is over and the truth is now being told about this topic. But by and large, the almost unbelievably callous treatment they endured has left a sad and terrible legacy. It's a legacy not merely of scars, but of what some victims have described, including during the community consultation phase for the design of this memorial, as a legacy of lifelong wounds. The mothers in particular were treated appallingly, among other things being labelled as selfish, for not wanting to give up their child to a more responsible set of parents, and then later being criticised for allegedly letting their child go in a heartless fashion. Those two things being told to a person must have been maddening. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't expect this artwork to completely address or assuage feelings of pain or loss. And I definitely don't want it to be seen as the close of a book or the signal of forgetting. What I do want, however, is for this to become a place for quiet thought, one that attracts people and therefore fosters awareness and empathy. On behalf of the government and the people of South Australia, I wish to thank and commend all those who have played a role in the conception, the design and the making of this poignant memorial. And in our journey down life's river, may this be a place for us to rest, reflect and not to pass by.
Thank you, Premier. I'd like to thank you all for coming here today and to share and to celebrate resilience and courage, and also to commemorate all of the things that we've spoken about today. There are chalkboards all the way around the work, which we encourage you to write messages, whatever messages you'd like to share. And now I'd like to invite the Premier to officially launch the work by undoing the bow, the ribbon, and we'll then ask the Premier to scatter some rose petals around the work as a symbol of respect. I now invite all of you to come forward and take a handful of rose petals and scatter them yourselves. Thank you.